So Gartner predicts by 2017 that 90% of enterprise apps will become mobile enabled, not only on the desktop, but on mobile devices. And it's not simply a matter of taking an enterprise app that's typically run on a desktop and shrinking it down into a mobile device form factor. I mean, that's not really productive. We've all seen when companies have done that and you're trying to work on 1.5 font on a device. It's not really productive. And so as companies adopt a mobile-first strategy for mobile devices, there are many considerations that come into play. One, for example, is how many capabilities are in the app, and could the app be broken into multiple apps for productivity purposes? Also, are there certain features or services available, such as push notifications? Does the app need to be context aware? And they become context aware based on 17 plus sensors in a mobile device. Typical laptops, desktops only have about 4 to 5 sensors. And the classic example of this is Uber. I mean, with Uber, not only can the driver see where we're located, but we can see where all the drivers are located and driving around. And Uber's doing this by taking advantage of the 17 plus sensors. And also, as companies develop applications, you need to consider scale. I mean, there's 1.5 billion devices out there in the enterprise. And last, but probably most important, are the multiple OSs. So to this point, Android and iOS have been the predominant players, but Windows isn't going away, and I can see a late push with Windows, and also BlackBerry isn't going away. So there's really 4 major players out there, and they're also coming out with new releases constantly. I mean, I'm updating my iPhone probably every 2 months at least with a new iOS version. And so it's really no surprise when you take all of these things into consideration as companies develop a mobile-first strategy that the most successful consumer apps, and customers are trying to adopt consumer apps into the enterprise, the most successful ones put out 10 to 24 times per year a new app. Uber, for example, they've put out 24 new releases just since late May. So they're going around this innovation cycle that we talked about, from the application to leveraging big data, taking the big data and gleaning analytics from the big data, and then going back to the application and going around that innovation cycle and tweaking the application 10 to 24 times per year. And when companies are going around that innovation cycle, certain services need to be created for push notifications. The user experience is critical as you take context-aware and geolocation capabilities into play. The data, the sheer volume of data coming from the 17 plus sensors, and the scale of the number of devices that you are now supporting, and then lastly, the frequency of how often new releases of an OS are coming out and across the 4 major players of OS publishers. So as you can see, this gets pretty complicated. And so as companies are starting to adopt a mobile-first strategy for their enterprise applications, they're leveraging something called Mobile Platform as a Service. And Mobile Platform as a Service enables companies to go around this innovation cycle faster and faster to keep up with consumer and employee demand. And so Mobile Platform as a Service gives you a couple things. One is the ability to use microservices. And microservices are becoming more and more pervasive, and it gives you the ability to connect your front-end application to back-end services through something called microservices. Secondly, agile development practices, something that Pivotal has been a pioneer with since the late 80s. Thirdly, enterprise security is always important. Fourth, consumer-grade capabilities. People want the Uber-type capabilities built into their enterprise apps, so consumer-grade capabilities. And last, big data based on the number of sensors in the device and the sheer volume of data. So one customer comes to mind. Large financial institution had an initiative to build a business banking website for its customers, and they took a mobile-first strategy. So their application looks the same whether it is on a phone, on a tablet, or on the desktop laptop. And they did this with something called responsive design that we'll get into next. And so what we're going to talk about next is how companies have leveraged mobile platform as a service to go around this innovation cycle faster and faster. Thanks a lot for your time today. I appreciate it.